Hi, Dave the Sausage Prick here, bringing you another great recipe you can make at home. Today we're going to make Polish sausage or Polska kielbasa. We're going to make a 10-pound batch, so we're going to use 5 pounds of beef chuck and 5 pounds of pork shoulder or pork butt. We'll run it through the first grind, a fine plate or a fine grind, and the second grind we'll do through a medium plate. We have our trim all ready here. Like I said, I have half beef chuck and half pork butt. You really don't have to use half and half on this. You can use any combination you want. You can use all pork or you can use all beef. I like the taste of the combination of the flavors. If you're going to use venison for your beef portion, venison or wild game for your beef portion, that's what you use for your wild game. And then you could use a fatty pork butt to go in it. You got to make sure you get fat in this because there's not a lot of fat in when you're using wild game. There's not a lot of fat in it, so you want to get a fatty pork butt to add to it. So we got our first grind done. We're going to add our seasonings to it. That was 5 pounds of beef and 5 pounds of pork, what we're making this out of today, 10-pound batch. So you get 6 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup solids, 2 teaspoons of Instacure number 1, Instacure number 1 is if you're going to smoke it. Some people like a fresh Polish. I like mine smoked. It's probably going to take you about 4 hours to smoke it. It all depends on your smoker. I'll set mine anywhere from 150 to 175. And you really need to get the temperature up to 160 or 152 is what we're going to go for in this in less than 3 hours if you're not going to use the Instacure and you're going to smoke it. You can get botulism when you're smoking meats, particularly when you're smoking sausage, because you're in that temperature range. You don't have any air in your because of the smoke, and that's a perfect temperature range for botulism. The reason you don't have to use like an Instacure if you're smoking a brisket or a butt, because you're generally over 200 degrees when you're cooking it, so that takes you out of the danger range. Four tablespoons, of coarse black pepper. 3 tablespoons of garlic. Tablespoon and a half of garlic. 1 tablespoon of onion powder. 1 tablespoon of marjoram. And a tablespoon and a half of mustard seed. You can substitute sugar instead of the corn syrup solids. I really like the flavor of the corn syrup solids. It's got a different sweetness to it. But if you're going to use sugar, use 4 teaspoons for this 10-pound batch. Another thing that Instacure will do for you, it'll brighten up the color. If you don't put Instacure in it, it's going to be kind of a dull brown after you get it cooked and finished. If you're going to cook them fresh, it doesn't really make any difference. But it makes for a lot nicer presentation if it's a little bit pink instead of that brown dull color. We're done with the second grind on this. Now we'll run it through the stuffer. I've cut this batch down to a 5-pound batch if you want to make a smaller batch. 3 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of corn syrup solids, 1 teaspoon of Instacure number 1, 1 tablespoon of black pepper coarse ground, 1 3/4 teaspoons of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of onion powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of marjoram, 1 3/4 teaspoons of mustard seed, 1 cup of dried milk, and 1 cup of water. And if you want to replace the sugar in this with the corn, not use the corn syrup solids and use sugar instead, then you put 2 teaspoons of sugar in it instead of the corn syrup solids. I recommend the corn syrup solids. They got a different sweetness to it, and I just like the flavor a lot better. Make sure you rinse your casings both inside and out. A lot of people don't rinse inside. It makes it a lot easier when you stuff them. It runs a lot smoother. If you got a lot of them to do, even if you don't, I use this balloon nozzle. That works really good for getting inside the casing. Just turn on the faucet, it runs right through them. Especially if you're going to do a lot of them. It's not that big of a deal trying to get them casings over a faucet if you're just doing a little bit. But if you got a place attached to, that works really good. I'm going to show you how to twist these casings. I got two different ways to do it, either singles or doubles. So if you're doing singles, you just do the first one, twist it, then you can go every other one. That's all there is to it on the singles. If you're going doubles, either way works. Either way works good. You split it in half like that, twist it. That's all there is to it, singles and doubles. We get all these linked up, so we're going to go put them in the smoker for a while. We've pulled our Polish out of the smoker, and it's important to give it a hot water bath or shower within a couple minutes after you get them out of the smoker. We brought these sausages up to an internal temperature of 152. Now it's a heat and eat item for you. It's already cooked. But what they'll do is they'll start to shrivel up on you. If you don't give it a hot water bath, they're going to shrivel up on you. They'll taste the same, but they just don't look very nice when they get shriveled up on you. So we'll do that real quick. We gave them the shower, we drained the water on them. Now I'm going to wait another 5 minutes, I'll give them another hot water shower. Most of the time, twice I'll do it. Keep an eye on them. If they start to shrivel up on you, then go ahead and give them one more shower. And generally I can do it in two. Sometimes it takes me 3 for whatever reason, I'm not sure. If you're gonna freeze some of these, I always cool them in your refrigerator overnight. Otherwise, when you put them back in the freezer, if you put them in the freezer right away, they're gonna shrivel up on you anyway, so they just won't look that pleasant. Still taste good, but they won't look as good. Until next time, have a great day.